Good morning, guys. Good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Thanks for joining us again for another episode of the Detour Live. I'm your host, Dan Jones, and joined on the ground by four-time national road champion from Australia, Johnny Trevorrow. Now, Johnny, you've had a bit of a transfer. We don't know how the Wi-Fi is going to hang in there, but I was a bit concerned when I heard that you'd missed the direct flight with the team. You got bumped, which was expected, and you've had to pivot. You've had to go to Munich, then get back to Sicily. I did have my concerns because if I gave you the task of driving from Sale to Rosedale, there'd be a drama. How are you travelling, mate? What's going on?
We did have drama. We had to drive back to Budapest, get a flight, but the problem was there was a storm hit Budapest, so they kept us there for another hour. We flew to Munich, and it's an absolutely monster airport at Munich. We had to jump out of the plane, Vazzy and I, along with these great long runway things, and then I get a train to another terminal, and we got there just beforehand. I thought, no, I don't think our bags are going to make it. And no, they didn't. So no bags. I got no earphones or mic. So I'm sorry about that, but we'll survive. Hopefully our bags turn up tomorrow. But if Ron Reed's listening to this, I can remember 2013 where his bags chased us around the whole Tour de France.
That's right.
3 days to go.
Rick Jagger, he live comment. Thanks for tuning in, Rick. He says, John, you survived the trip. He did, but without his bags. Ron Reed was a great travel companion because I remember I used to keep saying to him, Ron, you've left your polo shirt in the bin. And he'd go, no, I intentionally did that. He wouldn't do any washing. He'd bring all these polos, like these old ones from
all the giveaways. He would go to the Olympics and all the things he's been doing. Yeah. And he just use them and just leave them everywhere we went.
Just dump them in the bin. Yeah. But obviously, it's going to be an epic stage 4. We previewed that a little bit on yesterday's episode because it finishes in Mt Etna and it's going to be a real GC shake-up. But doing my research, Mt Etna, it is the most active volcano in Europe. This thing is burping like constantly. Hot lava.
I've been lucky enough to be up there on that hill just next to right there and watch it erupt.
So what's the forecast for Etna? Hopefully it stays under control for the stage. But then whenever it does spew lava, the locals are always like, nah, it's no threat to the locals. It should be fine. They're used to it.
It's a regular thing. Yeah. My mate Kippo, I took up there back years back. We were staying over. We caught the ferry over just to watch it, and luckily for Kippo, I took the wrong way. I know you find this hard to believe, Dan. Went the wrong way, so we got up the mountain next to it. But where's where the race goes earlier today, actually. And then someone said, no, this is not. So we found out that Mount Etna was about to erupt, and we wouldn't have got up there anyway. The roads were closed, so we parked at this restaurant, sat out in the balcony, and watched Mount Etna erupt. It was amazing.
Oh, would have been. Couple of vinos.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now,
so unluckily, we would have got there earlier today. Yatesy and Lucas Hamilton rode up as a bit of a check out today. The problem that was raining and whatever, but they still did it. Jerry and the rest of the pacemakers were they followed them today, and they said it was fantastic. Yeah, great just to watch them go up there.
Well, just talking about Lucas Hamilton, like in any quest to win the overall, you need a really good team around you, and Lucas is going to play a real key part in Simon Yates, having a crack at winning the Giro. Yes. And you look at his form going into that 2020 Giro, he was thereabouts as well, and you see some of the results in the end. Jai Hindley particularly running second. Lucas, a lot of experts would say he had the potential to finish on the podium that year as well, given his form. He's, as you said, going to be that crucial cog. Now, you caught up with him. In fact, I think you dragged him out of bed or delayed his preparation, so hopefully that doesn't have any effect. But here's the chat you had with Lucas Hamilton only a couple of months
ago. Just a few minutes ago, actually.
All right, let's take a look.
It's been a big day. Vazzy and I have had to fly from where we go, Budapest to Munich. Then there was a hold up, so we have got no luggage. We've arrived in Sicily with no luggage. Got here late, but the guys have been, it's bedtime, but Lucas Hamilton, he's been out on the course today, ridden up Mt Etna, and we're going to ask him what it was like. So, Lucas.
Yeah, well, me and Yacey went and reconned it today. It was wet today, so fingers crossed it's not like that tomorrow. She's long. Takes a while to get to the top of that volcano, so hopefully it's a day. I think it suits us, but yeah, it's Etna. Historically at the Giro is it's a bit of a mixed bag on how the race pans out.
So what do you really think is going to happen tomorrow? I mean, I know you guys aren't that interested in the pink jersey or what happens with Vanderpool, but it's more about what's the others like Carapaz and the guys like that. So what do you think will happen?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a million scenarios, I think, for a day like tomorrow. First mountain day too, who has legs, who doesn't. We've had a bit of a mix of stages in Hungary as well with like a short TT. Obviously, Simon's proven that he's in the really good shape. I think Ineos, they have probably the strongest climbing team here, but we've also got a really strong climbing team. So I think, it would just be, to be honest, it could be a big break day. And maybe someone takes the pink, or maybe the pink jersey goes in the break. We've seen Vanderpool do something like that before. Or it could come down to a GC battle in the final climb. It could be one of two, I reckon.
So you've had a topsy-turvy year. You had COVID earlier, but you seem to have really hit form at the right time.
Yeah, I think like most of the peloton this year, it's been I had COVID, then I got bronchitis, which I think 90% of the peloton got at some point this year. And then did a bit of facial damage at Tour of Basque. But yeah, I think I was really motivated to come here in the best shape I could to try and help Simon bag the Giro. So it's there's been a few hurdles, but it's good to arrive in some pretty good shape.
Now, it could be a battle of the Aussies tomorrow, because it could be you and Richie doing the final flings up the road for your team leaders.
Yeah, maybe. Richie looks in pretty good shape, so I think it'll be. I think he'll show how well he's going tomorrow, Richie, because he looks good. But hopefully I can be up there somewhat. But it's the first mountain day. It's not necessarily like the other mountain days we have coming up, but it's the start of some big GC days to come.
Well, good luck tomorrow. Look out for me. I'll be at kilometre 154, so about halfway up Mount Etna. I'll be there handing out the bottles for you, bud.
Easy. I'll make sure to grab a bottle. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
He's a great guy, Lucas, and that is refreshing when you have sort of lieutenants that are relaxed, and they bring something onto the bus. I think that goes a long way, particularly in cycling. And there's one thing that when teams are trying to build culture and get the right fit, that's got to be a big factor, is like, what is their personality like? You want someone that prepares well, trains hard, you know what you're going to get out of them. But someone that adds something on the bus, I think, is often overlooked, because if you look at cycling stats and things like that, they don't have a rating or a meter for personality.
Exactly right. And you touch on it all the time, culture, and Jerry does as well. It's so important in a team. You get the right people. A lot of these teams that you watch, I won't say names, but Astana.
Yeah.
It's not a great culture there.
Right.
But the Aussies have always been really, really strong on that, and the riders they bring in fit into that same culture. So and he's one of the legends.
All right, a couple more live comments. Andy Matthews, thanks for tuning in again, Andy, I think he's on the ground at Sicily. Says Mount Etna erupted in February this year.
I'm going to try and
catch up with him
tomorrow. I keep forgetting he always contributes. He's one of our the Detour's main family members. He's been with us forever. I don't think there's a show that he doesn't comment. And I keep going to answer it, but then you talk over me as you always do.
Oh, right,
and I never get to do it. But I've had a couple of emails with Andy. I've never actually met Andy. I'm really looking forward to meeting him tomorrow. It's awkward within the bubble. I can't cuddle him and go to a beer with him like I'd like to. And I know he'd like to get up on the road and hand out a bottle or something, but probably those things can't happen. But his young son races in Holland. He's been over here for a while, watching his young guy who's just starting in the early stages of his career, also going to university in Maastricht, so switched on young kid. But so I'm looking forward to catching up with Andy tomorrow, who's become a big part of the Detour family.
And another one that's part of the family is Jan Boardman. She says, "Hi guys, did Peter get the keys okay? Do you have to pick up a car at the airport on your arrival, or did you get picked up? Have other logistical questions, but we'll save them for the rest of the Giro." Jan wants logistics, John.
Well, I think Peter Weenie thinks I'm a legend, because we not only did we get the car there for him at Budapest, so we took off and he arrived about an hour later. I parked it I took all the good photos, showed him exactly where it was, even gave him a diagram of how to walk out of the departure lounge and turn left down to a special path. So I gave it all to Peter. So he's got the car.
Righto. Well, that's good. You don't want the ween dog barking at you, that's for sure.
No, we don't. Now, we just got to sent you through a couple of pics a bit late, sorry. I meant Vazzy just sent it through for you, actually, of Lucas and Simon climbing up Mount Etna today. So after, maybe during the
ad break. We'll take an ad break. I'll upload the photos, and then we'll come back after the ad break. We've got plenty more, including an old mate, if he caught up with at dinner. Stay tuned for more Detour.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Feel more in every moment. The all-new Lexus NX.
Fun fact, you can make cycling part of your next Let's Go adventure. With a bike, you can enjoy and explore even more places. So feel the wind in your hair, book a bike, enjoy the outdoors and see more with a Let's Go motorhome today.
Thanks again to Bike Exchange, Let's Go Motorhomes, and of course Lexus of Blackburn. And Johnny, just before the show, I found the photo. I found the photo that you were looking for. It was on the Lexus of Blackburn Bay Crits Twitter page. You've been banging on about that photo for a long time with the two winners from this year's edition.
Ruby Roseman Cannon and Blake Quick, yes. Yeah. Hanging out that wonderful electrified Lexus. And it's just a great shot. And I love it because it really just shows what the Bay Crits is all about, you know. Colour,
hanging out of cars.
Hanging out of the car, yeah.
Well, because I was nervous. I thought, I couldn't find the photo. So I was digging up photos of the Lexus of Blackburn shop. You know, I'd done my research. I found out about the new LX range that they've launched in April in Australia. And, geez, you got to check these out. There's 7 variants of this luxury brand. It's like an upgrade from the old Toyota Land Cruiser. And there's a F Sport variant, and there's a Lexus First Plus 4-seat ultra luxury model. And if you have a look at the interior, have a look at that. That doesn't personify luxury. I don't know what does. So get down to Lexus at blackburn.com.au. Say good day to Andrew and the team, and they'll sort you out. And of course, Let's Go Motorhomes. They're a fantastic supporter of cycling. As we always say on this potty, support the companies that support cycling. That's all we ask. We've got a couple more live comments.
Right. Gee.
Mate, I had a really strong coffee this morning. I'm back. Drongo Lamont, he says, I hope you've got the heater on a timer, Dan. 7 a.m. start is quite brutal in these conditions. George might struggle if it was a social distance podcast. He's not lying. Like, you know, when it's so cold that your sheets feel wet, that's what we're dealing with in Melbourne at the moment. Jared Davison says, morning, boys. Love what you do. And Free Ranger, he's back. Hi, guys. Any news on how Stewie and the people on the bike tours are travelling?
Well, Stewie's back at home. I got an email from him today. But Moo, I think they've got a very small group here at the moment. I don't think they're actually at this part, but they're very strong on the last week. And they've got a big crew of superstars coming for the last week of the Giro, so it should be great.
Now, we've told this story a few times on the podcast, probably every month, but you did catch up with an old mate, Gianni Salvio. There's some images from Vazzy. He's a famous character in Italy. He's the manager. What's the team name? Because it changes every year.
Owner of the Andrioni. Now it's called the Drone Hopper Andrioni cycling team. There he is, the Silver Fox.
Yeah. What I used to love about Gianni is Brian Nygaard back in the day, the media manager at Green Edge. You know, he's a guy that, you know, personifies fashion. You know, he's always immaculately dressed. But he said that Gianni takes it to another level because even when it was 40 degrees, he'd still be in a jacket.
Yes,
like always immaculately dressed.
Yep. I was just showing him. I found a photo
this one.
of that photo. I was just showing that to him. Oh, you must send it to my WhatsApp. That is us in 1981. So Gianni, his association with cycling back then was he made galley equipment, which the team that I rode for in 81, but also earlier in like late 78 or whatever, Carlos Galley, he made the equipment. And from that, we became really good friends. And then I imported his galley equipment into Australia. As much as I love him, the equipment was nowhere near as good as what he is. But anyway, it's another story.
That's a real polite backhand of that one.
But a legend. But now, and so his association with as a major sponsor, he had been the same when I was the teams. But then he went from that to building his own team. And he made actually a real success and made a lot of, and there we've got the two legends together, Jerry and Gianni, and two passionate people in the sport of cycling. But Gianni brought a lot. He was the first to realise just how much talent there is in South America. So in Colombia, Argentina, and a few those other places, he brought those riders over to Europe. Bernal was the big success story, and Sky bought the contract out and paid Gianni a lot of money, like €1 million type money, to buy the contract off him. And he's done that on a few occasions. It's a bit harder now. Everyone knows the story, so they've all got the talent scouts travelling around South America picking out the superstars because the sport's so big over there. But no, Gianni is just a lovely guy. From the early days when I was going over there, his wife, who I haven't seen in many years, was an English teacher, so she spoke good English. And Gianni always, first thing he says, I'm sorry, my English is not so good. But yeah.
But his favourite quote was, with another head, he would be a big champion. Sure, when he's talking about you.
Well, he came out today. The minute I walked up, he was sitting
with another
there.
Head.
I walked up and I said, Gianni, wow, he jumped up, gave me a cuddle. And he introduced me to his team. and he said this was a Grand Collier. And then he said, and with another head. So he's still saying the same story.
Oh, that's great. Now, Rick Jagger's got a request. Can Johnny do some Insta stories during the day? Geez, that's a challenge. Do you even know what Insta stories means?
No.
Would be great to see some on the ground footage. Ask Vazzy, because you can do like live little videos throughout the day. People want to see updates of Iffy on the road because
putting on what? Just on YouTube?
No, Instagram. Insta means Instagram.
Oh, okay. We can do that.
Guys, when you write the comments, just remember you're talking to dinosaurs. So you got to spell it out like. And Rob Birch says, love listening to you guys from Geelong, but will your cameraman Vazzy ever make a guest appearance? We've seen his feet.
Well, hang on.
Vazzy.
There he is.
He's cooked. He's 4 days in. He's cooked. We could be getting some shaky footage, folks. You just hang in there, Vazzy. Now, one of the challenge I did give Vazzy was give us photos of the cuisine. Now, it doesn't look as appealing tonight. We've got the buffet. You had
food was actually quite tasty. We're in Sicily now, and we're in Italy, and this pasta was amazing. So Now I did want to mention one thing. We're talking about Mt Etna. If we go back to 2020, very similar, early in the tour, and Jai Hindley absolutely he cooked himself, just hung on, lost a bit of time. As we know, he went on to run second in the Giro, but the actual Mt Etna was almost his undoing very early in that Giro.
Did most teams? I've got the photos now of Yatesy and Lucas when they were doing the recon. Most teams would have gone out with their GC guys, particularly, and had a look at Etna again. You think, or
yeah? Well, they'd be crazy if they didn't. Some of them would have done. Like, I mean, the Italians would have all done it earlier in the year, I guess. But you don't always get a chance. They've got such busy seasons. It's not easy to do these things. But with a rest day, I would say quite a few of them would have done it. I couldn't say because I wasn't there. I was stuck somewhere between Munich and Sicily. But I'm sure quite a few of the especially the guys who hadn't ridden it, have never ridden it, would have done it. It's a crucial part of this Giro. Tomorrow will, the old cliche.
You can lose it.
Won't know who's going to win, but there will be a few who crack tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to watch what happens. We've got Van der Poel. Interesting. One of the things that Lucas said, he wouldn't be surprised to see a break up the road and see Mathieu Van der Poel getting in that break, trying to keep that pink jersey. And guys, the main GC contenders wouldn't really worry about that so much because he's not thought of as a serious threat for that pink jersey in 2.5 weeks' time.
The thing with current cycling, we've been talking about a bit, particularly over the last 12 months, is it is being raced differently. The old school days of, break goes and then they go, okay, those guys are free. We can sort of sit up and out. They just are from the gun from the start. And given that there is it's not flat for, the first 50, it's 50Ks. It only gets flat at the sort of 83K mark. There's a bit of a valley there. But from the gun, you're talking, 81 Ks of hard racing. It's just going to be hard, isn't it? Like for teams to go in that traditional format where they sort of let a break go and then they sort of take it a bit easier.
We've learned that. There's no piano anymore. Piano is the easy part of the stage. They fire the gun, they're racing. And it's just a different sport. I rode the Giro, started it not very fit, last minute call up by Gianni Savio, and I shouldn't have even been there. And there's no way that I could have finished that Giro if it had been raced like today. But, I managed to ride myself in, and by the end of it, I was going quite well. And we only had 2 days off, and we went and rode the Tour of Switzerland, which was nearly 2 weeks back then. So it was like a 5-week grand tour. And I managed to come up and be going really well by the end of both of those events because they didn't race it as hard. They raced flat out the last part of the stage, and the TV wasn't live all the way back then either. So the TV would start there was a sprint and around about halfway in the stage every day, and that was called the TV, the TV sprint. They would it would just be piano and cruising along, and then that sprint that all winded up, and from then on, it was on. But you had, so it's the 200, they were longer stages, 240k most of the time, but you would have 120k of cruising along, so you could ride yourself in. And I managed to get myself fit enough to be bobbing along okay by the end. Couldn't do that now.
Andy Matthews, he's got intel. He says the Ineos team were out doing a ride on the first climb today. The early climb means that the break will be hard to get into and could be a strong one. They're going to light it up, John.
I like that. That's a very good bit of information, Andy, because I was trying to quiz Whitey just before at dinner what he thinks Ineos would do. They are great for coming up with different plans. They really do. They send guys
Things
up in
the
that
chessboard.
It's a chessboard, exactly, and they're very good at it. And it'll be interesting. I reckon there will be. And they've got a very strong team. There'll be Sivakov or one of those up in that early break, get up there and give someone a chance for Carapaz to do a big flyer, get up and they drop back. And all of these scenarios. I'm looking at tomorrow's going to be a very, very interesting day.
Now, Jen's got another question. Do the S's on the stage map mean sprint points? Bit mean if they do. Let's have a look at the map, Johnny. And where have they got the sprints? Oh, yeah. Just at the base of Etna. There's
very good
sprint classifications. Yeah, so they should have had that in the middle.
A very good friend of ours who we met on the Tour de France probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. A lovely, lovely lady, and we got her into the team car for a day, and or our detour car, and she loved it. And hopefully, even if I don't get the Tour de France this year, Jan will be there, and you'll be there, Dan. You'll have to make sure you help Jan out at some stage if I don't get there.
Yep, no dramas. We've got another comment. Gay, she's gone, iffy, I love you, but man, it's the Giro D'Italia, not Giro D'Italia. You're doing her head in.
You're dead right. I've got to put more effort into my pronunciation. Pronunciation. You're dead right. And it is the Giro D'Italia. Just the D.
Giro D'Italia. Giro D'Italia. But
I've got to put a bit more effort in because I'm very slack on my terminology. I was listening to one of the Eurovision commentators, and they say every name, every town so perfectly, and I'm just an ocker who gets it wrong all the time. I've got to try a bit harder.
Yeah, but the key is you're likable, so you get away with it. Like, whenever you make a mistake, people go, that's just iffy. That's
but I've got a bit more effort. And I actually driving the car today. We had a 2-hour drive early this morning, and because Vazzy fell asleep when we were doing the detour last night, he played it in the car, and I listened to myself, and I mumble.
Yeah.
I've got to stop mumbling.
You just work this out.
Yeah, well, it's only been 3 or 4 years. I mumble. Well, I never listen to the show.
Well, if anyone wants to listen back, I think it was stage 1. I think it was just your mumbling, mate.
I'm going to
your
work.
throat was very well lubricated that episode. Len Baird says the sprinters can form their survival group after those 2 intermediate sprints. Well, yeah, that's if Ineos don't light it up from the gun.
They will be well and truly gone. They'll be going around. There's my finger going back there, about 20, 30k out.
What you find is a lot of the a lot of the sprinters on a stage like that will actually get on the rollers or request rollers at the buses before the start, just so that their legs are warmed up, ready to go if they do pull the trigger from the beginning. And that I'd be like, "What are you doing on the rollers, mate?" And they go, "Mate, have you seen the profile?" And you look at the profile, and you go, "Oh, okay." They don't want to be caught napping, so it's going to be interesting.
No, exactly right.
Anyway,
we got here quite late, and we're walking in. Vittorio Aldira, the Italian,
Great guy.
great guy, who rode back in my day and was a stage winner of the Giro. I think he rode the Giro that I rode as well. Lovely guy. And we had to park next to the team bus, and then we had a long walk past all the team buses, and there is the Quickstep, Koenig Quickstep team bus with all the team in it having a special meeting. I thought, oh, gee, that's pretty serious. Everyone else is in having dinner. They got a team meeting in the bus.
Panic stations.
At 7:00 at night.
Free Ranger says, "Can the Shark pull something out of the hat in front of his home crowd?"
He will do that. He could very well. If a break goes, they would let him go because he's not going to get on the podium in this Giro. Those days are gone, I believe. But such a great racer.
He'll try something.
He will try something. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get up the road.
All right, mate. Well, you get your rest. It's 11:30 p.m. your time. As we always say, youtube.com/the Detour podcast. Like, share, subscribe. If you're on the audio platforms, leave a review on iTunes. It all helps. And be savage if you want. We're not going to dictate how you comment. But good 5-star ones help. But thanks again for all your support. We'll be back again, as always, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, it's going to be fireworks. So get your rest, Iffy. Hopefully your bags turn up, and we'll see you again tomorrow, guys. Take it easy.